Hello again. Today I'm going to show you how to extend the canvas in Photoshop. I use this feature a lot because I tend to be a tight shooter, and if I want to print my images on a canvas where there's a wrap on the edge, I don't have enough room on the image, so I need to extend the canvas very often. So in my previous video, I showed you how to go from Lightroom into Photoshop, and you'll do that exact same thing. So if you're in Lightroom, you'll click on Photo up at the top, drop down and click on Edit In and Photoshop, and then you'll get this screen. This is in Photoshop now. So the first thing I need to do is go to the crop tool, which is this little triangular tool here, and click on that. I'm going to use that little hashtag and click, hold down, and drag all the way across my image, and then you can see that it has the grid on it and the entire image is selected. But I need more room on the bottom and probably a little more room on the top. I want to keep my 2:3 ratio, so that's good. If you look up here at the top on the left, it shows you what your ratio is. So to keep that, I'm just going to keep those numbers like they are. Come down and pick a corner and click and drag out, and that pulls the framing out beyond your image. And I like to just do opposite corners because it kind of keeps things even. And you're just going to kind of judge how much you want to extend that canvas. And I think that will be enough. And if you remember that most of this new part that I'm adding is not going to be visible. It's going to be on the sides of the canvas or wrapped around the back. So that works. So once I have my crop tool extended beyond the image, I'm going to click on it and release it. And the little dots are working. It will show in just a moment how large the canvas will then be. So now we have some empty area that we need to fill in. Just like in the previous video, I'm going to come up to the rectangular marquee tool, click on that, use that little corner crosshair and click down and drag on this area, this left side, left border that I want to fill. You only need a pixel or two, a couple of pixels, and Photoshop will know exactly what you want to fill. I'm going to do content aware again, so I'm going to right click, choose fill, content aware, okay, and I keep it at 100% and normal for this. So I'm going to end up doing this same step on all four sides. So once Photoshop finishes with that side, I'll click to release it. That looks good, and I'm going to come over here and do the exact same thing and use my rectangular marquee tool to identify the area that needs to be filled. So I've got my marching ants. I right click, fill, content aware, okay, and it starts working. And then I click on the outside of the marching ants to release it. I do the same thing on the top here. Put those corners right, matching up with the area I want to fill. Release, right click, fill, content aware, okay, and it will fill that area. And now the very last section on the bottom here, using that same procedure, identifying the area I need to fill, right click, fill, content aware, okay, and it will fill that for me. Now there's some areas on this that are showing up a little greater that I'm not really thrilled about. And that is these light areas here and this dark area and also this dark area. So all I'm going to do is come over to my menu here on the left, and I'm going to choose the dodge tool first. It looks like a little lollipop on the side. Click on that, and the dodge tool will lighten for me. I choose the midtones. I could choose shadows, highlights. Probably I think I'll choose shadows for this particular one. And I'm going to leave exposure at 15%. And I'm going to come down just below the spool here and brush over it a couple of times just to lighten this area a little bit. It just was a little too dark, I thought. Even though most of this area is going to be in the wrap section of the canvas, I still want it to blend really nicely. And I'll do the same thing here. Now this looks kind of odd to me, like it's almost a different color, so I'm going to fill this or lighten this in just a little bit more. And the great thing about this foundation that I used, it's kind of mottled in different colors and splotchy, so it fills in really nicely, or it's not noticeable. The patterns are not noticeable, I guess. Now I could come up here to where the dodge tool is, and I could right click and then choose the burn tool. And I'll do that here on this side, just burn this in a little bit. Now I think that's too dark, so I'm going to come back up. Come up here. I've got the exposure at 100%. That's way too dark, so I'll come down to about 15 or 16 and brush over that, and that works out a little bit better. I don't need it to be exact, but I want it to improve. Okay, and then I could do the same thing over here. Just darken that in a little bit so that it doesn't look quite so obvious. Even though it will be on the back side, it still blends it a little better, I think. And then this area right here is almost too light for me. I'm going to pull that exposure down on my brush just a little bit more to like 8. And then kind of darken that just a little bit. Okay, and that's it. I have some more to do on this image, but my main concern was extending the canvas so that it's wide enough to do a wrap or print on a wrapped canvas to hang on the wall. Once I'm finished here, I could do some more editing here, but once I'm finished, I go to File and click on Save, and it will save it for me back to Lightroom. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope you give this a try. I use this feature all the time. As much as I try to back up a little bit when I shoot, I still tend to shoot way too tight. So I hope this is a feature that you can use, and I will see you next time.